The Indonesian government is to make drastic cuts to the numbers of Australian live cattle it imports next year. Officials say the plan is not related to the federal government's temporary ban on exporting live cattle to the country earlier this year. And Indonesia says it's moving towards a completely self-sufficient beef industry, which means Australian imports will be phased out altogether over the next 3 to 4 years. Rohan Sullivan is the president of the Northern Territory Cattlemen's Association.
Yeah, look, if it pans out like that, Ros, it definitely will have a big effect. But I mean, I'm a bit hopeful that it's not going to come to that because a couple of reasons. One is that the Indonesians have regarded imported Australian cattle which are finished in Australian feedlots as local production, and so they regard them as Indonesian cattle, and that was part of their self-sufficiency drive. And the other thing is that I think the Indonesian government is very sensitive to the price of meat in the market, and if there's any substantial rise in the price of meat in the wet markets, then I think that'll put pressure on the various ministries who recommend the number of imports to actually adjust those imports to increase the number of cattle available.
So have you been in touch with the Australian government authorities on this? Are they as optimistic as you are that this won't happen or won't be as bad as it seems?
Look, at this stage, and I've spoken to the territory government, the Minister of Resources up here. They're just trying to clarify just what this actually means, what the actual permit numbers are. And there's also issues about when those permits are released, and I guess the issue will become a bit more clearer perhaps on the 1st of January when the new permits for the next quarter of next year come into play.
Do you think this move towards self-sufficiency by the Indonesian authorities was sparked by that export ban? Earlier this year, the Indonesians had a major food supply disappear effectively, and that exposed their vulnerability, and this is the way of doing something about that.
Oh, no, I don't think so, Ros. This is they're on about their third 5-year self-sufficiency program, and you'll recall back in 2010, the Indonesian government embarked on a new self-sufficiency program, so and it was in place well before the suspension this year. So it's part of Indonesia's move, and it's been on for a while.
Are your members back on their feet after the ban earlier this year?
Look, the industry's certainly been in recovery mode. There's been good numbers of cattle going out, and it looks like exports to Indonesia will probably reach around 420,000 for the year. So the industry's been getting back on its feet, that's for sure.
Rohan Sullivan, thank you.
Okay, no worries, Ros.